I wanted a truck camper for a few reasons. The biggest was so that I could travel North America and be able to drive down remote roads and camp easily. But I also wanted to be able to quickly and easily pack up and go on an overnight trip in my home state of Minnesota. After almost a year with the truck camper, I have successfully camped with it in many beautiful and remote places, but I still hadn't taken it for an overnight camping trip in my home state of Minnesota. So despite a rainy start to the day, I finally packed up the truck camper for a quick overnight trip in Minnesota.
Well, it's a rainy start to our drive today, which honestly is a lot better than have it being a snowy start, which we had last time we did a big adventure. This adventure, though, is a little bit smaller. Today we are driving to finish up some of the Minnesota State Park hiking trails. Back in December of 2019, I first found out about the Minnesota Hiking and Passport Clubs. Minnesota State Parks runs this really cool program where you can buy a pamphlet for either the hiking club or the Passport Club for the Minnesota State Parks. Now, in the Passport Club, you're just going to each park and getting a stamp that they have typically at the entrances/visitor centers for the parks. In the hiking club, there's a hiking trail that you need to walk at most of the state parks. There's a couple that aren't included in the hiking club. And so I had purchased both of those in 2019. I made really good progress on them in 2020 and 2021. And then I ended up with all of these state parks that were 4+ hours away from home and a little harder to get to. And so this month, in June of 2024, I am working to finish up both the hiking club and the Passport Club. Today, I'm on my way to Glendalough and Maplewood State Parks, which are kind of in western/northwestern Minnesota. And I'm excited to see what they look like. I had been hoping originally to visit Maplewood in the fall because I've heard it's gorgeous with all the maple trees there. But, you know, I keep ending up with busy falls, so here we are. We're going to see what it looks like in June.
Take the next left onto 5th Street.
The rain did clear up pretty quick and we got some sunny skies on our drive west. As I mentioned, our first stop was Glendalough State Park. After arriving at Glendalough, I stopped at the park office to get the Passport Club stamp. Once my passport was stamped up, we proceeded on to the hiking club trail. Glendalough State Park's hiking club trail is 3.3 miles in length, and it's on the Salle Lake Trail, which begins and ends at the trail center, but it can also be accessed by short spurs from the campground or picnic area. The trail is mostly level with a surface that varies from hard-packed gravel to grass. The trail loops around the pristine Salle Lake and provided us with plenty of beautiful views of the lake itself. There were a few wildflowers on the forest floor and, happily, not too many mosquitoes at all. After a week or so without any exciting hikes, Glia and I were very happy to be back in the woods and enjoying some time in nature. After we checked Glendalough off our list, we started the drive out to Maplewood State Park. Maplewood State Park is just a short distance from Glendalough, less than an hour away, so the drive went quickly. Once arriving at Maplewood State Park, we again found the trailhead for the hiking club trail. The hiking club trail at Maplewood begins at the trail access parking area, which is located only a quarter mile from the park office. And of course, we stopped at that park office first to get another Passport Club stamp. The trail heads south from the parking area to Knoll Campground and then along the west side of Bass Lake to a trail shelter. Then it heads east and then north between Beers and Bass Lakes. I really enjoyed this beautiful hike. There were plenty of gorgeous hardwood trees, from sugar maples to basswood to oak. Originally, I had been saving this park for a fall hike because of all these hardwood trees. I've heard it's gorgeous in the fall, but since I keep filling up my falls with other activities, I decided to come in the spring, and it was great in the spring as well. The mosquitoes weren't too bad at this park either, although the ticks were starting to get a little heavier as we hiked through all the long grasses. So make sure that if you hike this park in the spring, you do a thorough tick check of both you and your dog. By the time we finished up Maplewood, the sun was starting to set, and so we made a quick drive over to the state park that we were going to camp at for the night, Itasca State Park. Itasca State Park is a popular and busy park because it is known for housing the headwaters of the mighty Mississippi River. Since we arrived as it was getting dark, I didn't go exploring on this day. Instead, I set up the truck camper and got ready for bed quickly. This is where the truck camper really shines. I can pull in the dark easily, pop it up quickly, and I have bed ready for me as soon as I'm ready for it. Overnight, a few thunderstorms rolled through, but we stayed snug and dry inside the truck camper. In the morning, we were ready to go again with a quick breakfast and then easily folding down the truck camper to hit the road again. I love how quick and easy it is to get this truck camper up and down for a quick night's rest. In a little bit of a surprise, as I folded down the truck camper, I noticed that there was quite a large spider sitting by one of my locking mechanisms. I had to shoo the spider away before I could latch the camper back down. But with all that done, we drove out of the campground and headed to the hiking club trail at Itasca State Park. After the long 6.2-mile hiking club trail at Maplewood, we were ready for something just a little bit shorter this morning. And happily, Itasca's hiking club trail is only 3.5 miles. You can begin the hike near the historic Douglas Lodge parking area and take the Ozo Windib Trail across some hilly Wilderness Drive and the west side of Mary Lake. The trail will take you through towering stands of white pine, oak, birch, aspen, and maple before you turn onto the crossover trail and pass by Myrtle Lake on your way to reaching the Deer Park Trail. Overall, this was another beautiful wooded trail, although the mosquitoes were a lot heavier at this park, and I finally busted out my Picardin wipes so that I had a little bit of bug protection for me and Glia. After we finished up this hiking club trail, I stopped by the visitor center, got my Passport Club stamp for Itasca, and our next stop, Salle State Recreation Area, as that does not have an office to house the passport stamp. And then before we left Itasca, I really couldn't leave without seeing the headwaters of the Mississippi. So Glia and I made a quick stop and hiked our way out. It was only about 600 feet from a visitor center down a paved path to get to the headwaters of the Mississippi. It's crazy that a river that ends so huge and so big starts as this fairly small little creek heading out of a lake in northern Minnesota. After we enjoyed the headwaters of the mighty Mississippi, it was a quick drive over to the Salle Lake State Recreation Area. This trail was supposed to be 2.9 miles in length, but it really didn't feel like it was that long. So I don't know if it was mislabeled or if they've changed it since I picked up my hiking club booklet. But this was a lovely hike from a parking area through some regenerating forest of pine and aspen and to an overlook of the Mississippi River Valley. The river is still pretty small in this area, but again, fun to see the Mississippi before it becomes so large. From Salle Lake Recreation Area, we began our drive home. There was only one more stop that I wanted to make, and that was at Cayana Country State Recreation Area. This is a location that only has a Passport Club stamp and does not have a hiking club trail, as the majority of this recreation area is dedicated to biking, either mountain biking or paved bike trails. But we did stop in and overlook one of the lakes in the area and have a quick little break down by the shore. Glia and I just finished our 5th state park stop of this trip. It was the Cayana Country Recreation Area. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then before that, we had Salle State Recreation Area. And then, of course, you saw Itasca, Maplewood, and Glendalough. It's been a really quick day and a half, and I wish we would have had a little more time to spend at some of the state parks. Specifically, Itasca had so many different areas to go and explore, but we're on a little bit of a time crunch. I've got to be back by 6 p.m. tonight to do some remote work, and so I am getting back in the car. Glia and I are going to make a drive home, but I hope you've enjoyed exploring some of Minnesota's state parks with me. It's a fantastic program, that hiking club and Passport Club, and we are getting so close to finishing it. I think I've only got like 10 state parks left or something like that. I'll have to count it out later. But again, thanks for coming along with us and enjoying the drive and the exploration. Thanks for watching and have a great week. Oh, and if you have a favorite Minnesota State Park, List it in the comment section below. I'm always curious to see what people's favorites are. Bonus points if it's not on the North Shore. I think the North Shore State Parks are spectacular, but there's so many others in the state that are worth exploring. So either way, though, let me know where your favorite is, regardless of where it is in the state. I'm always curious to see what other people's favorites are. Thanks for watching.